Well, hello, stampers and fellow paper crafters. This is Cindy Lynn with my inky fingers, and I could not wait to get you this paper pumpkin alternative. I am so excited about it. It's an interactive little card. I just love it. I've got a few extra supplies, which I will list, but I've got my paper pumpkin for March 2020, no matter the weather. And if you don't know anything about paper pumpkin, it does come with a full instruction sheet and inspiration, but then you have me to show you other alternatives. So, without further ado, this is all the supplies we're going to be using. We're going to be using both of the stamp sets. There was a free stamp set this month for the 7th anniversary. I'm going to use the dimensionals and the little rain droplets. I am going to use this tiny little circle out of the Ride With Me dies, and I'm going to use a 1-inch circle punch. I'm also going to use 2 pennies to make our boots spin. Super cute. And I've got 3 markers. I've got light flirty flamingo, light smoky slate, and the color lifter. It's not really a lifter. It just pushes the color into the paper, but nevertheless. I do have the Stampin' Spot, but I have the full-size ink pad, so I'm going to use that and save my Stampin' Spot. I pulled out a couple of the little tidbits that we're going to use on this card. And I'm actually going to cut that card and just use the front of it. And that's the envelope that I'm going to use to coordinate with the finished card. So I've got a thick piece of Whisper white cardstock. And I've got a mat that I cut a 16th to, I guess a 16th of an inch all the way around shorter. So that'd be in 2/8 of an inch. I don't measure. Anyhow, I'm going to fussy cut these boots out because I want to make a half rainbow, or I guess it's a full rainbow, but I'm going to make a rainbow out of them anyway. So I'm going to fussy cut all of these out, just carefully going around each set of boots. And then I'm going to pull out the circle from the little tidbit set. And I'm just going to kind of lay everything down just to kind of get an eyeball of where things are going to go and how they're going to be placed so I can stamp my bunnies. So because the sentiment on here, it says we're in this together, I figured I would use 2 little bunnies. Correction, it does say no matter the weather, we're in this together. But I figured the 2 little bunnies, no matter the weather, we're in this together, hiding in the little rubber boots together. I thought that just goes so perfect, right? So no matter the weather, we're in this together. They're going to hide in the little boots together. So I'm going to stamp this sentiment on that circle piece. Now, I want to make sure that I don't center it. I want it down a little from the top, and you'll see why when we put the boots together. So I'm just going to use the light smoky slate, and I'm going to color that color onto the bunnies, and then I want to push the color in with the lifter. Again, it's not really a lifter. It's more of pushes the ink into the paper just to kind of lighten it up. And I'm going to use the flirty flamingo for the cheeks and the ears. And I'm going to fussy cut these out right along the actual stamped line. And I'm only going to be fussy around the heads and the ears because you're not going to see the body. And then I'm going to use that light smoky slate and I'm going to go around the edges and just color in their eyes so they're solid, and use the black Stampin' Right marker for their noses just to make them pop a little bit more. So I got my placement where I wanted them, and there they are. So now I'm just going to kind of lay everything out again, glue all of these little boots on. Now the boots, you want to start at the top in the middle so that you can kind of center them all the way around. Being mindful of those yellow ones, you don't want them too far down. You want even placement of the boots all the way around, right? So I'm going to use the smoky slate ink pad with the clouds, but I thought, I'll bet you this is going to be dark. So I stamped it off, and I was right. So I stamped it off once and then stamped it on my actual cardstock because I didn't really want it to be too dark. And while my ink is out, I'm going to stamp the wishing you brighter days ahead on that little blue tag because we're going to hide that behind the boots to reveal a cute little sentiment on our interactive card. So I'm going to glue the patterned paper down to my Whisper white, and then I'm going to put some extra dimensionals over top of those bunnies, and I'm just going to kind of get my placement out, and I'm going to use my pencil and just kind of draw a half circle there where my boots are going to go. And I'm going to use the Ride With Me truck dies to cut that out. Use a soft eraser to erase your lines, or you may erase the ink off of the actual printed cardstock. Now here, I wanted to put my penny down on my 1-inch circle, but you've got to put your foam dot first, and then your dimensional, and then your penny. So it kind of locks it into place. Now I'm going to use the foam strips just to create a box around that penny because I didn't have a circle that was the right size. And if the circle's too small, your penny won't move around, right? So I'm going to build a box so the penny doesn't shift up or down or left or right. So it kind of sits snug in there. Now it's really important to not pull the release paper off of your foam strips that you made the box with because they'll stick to that second 1-inch circle and then it won't twirl, right? So what's holding it together is that dimensional in there, your foam dot dimensional, what have you. So now I'm going to cut off some strips because people are going to want to move this back and forth and you've only got that tiny little bit of glue. So I'm going to use some extra strips to reinforce. And on these ones here that I'm putting on the boots that are at the tops, I'm not gluing them to that bottom strip. So I can kind of use my scissors there and cut them off. So I've got an even amount of paper in the back. And then I'm going to put glue on that 1-inch circle. And I'm just going to kind of line everything up and I'm going to place those boots. And I had a little piece sticking out, so I just trimmed that off. So there you have it. So that'll move side to side, no problem now. And because we've got extra dimensionals there, the height of the boots on the card is higher than the bunnies. I went back and added some mini dimensionals on the heads of the bunnies there, but they're not quite as high as the boots, so everything will kind of move back and forth. Now, depending on where you put your center, you're going to want to trim your tag, the little blue flagged tag there, accordingly. So I just kind of lined it up and eyeballed it, and you'll want to do the same. And it just so happens that this tag is perfect. I mean, it's not too big and it hides right behind those blue boots so perfectly. Now, I wanted the tag to stick off the side of the card just to give the recipient an indication that there was something there. So when they play with it, they'll realize that the boots slide back and forth, right? So now I'm going to put my raindrops on, and I didn't put them on before because I wanted to make sure they didn't get in the way of the tag or, anything like that. And I wanted to be able to make sure that when the boots were in the right position, that you could actually see the raindrops and I wasn't wasting any. Now, quick tip, if you curl the actual clear acetate paper backwards, the little tip of the raindrop will appear and you can just take your pick behind there and pick them up quite easily. So I'm going to take my Wink Estella and I'm just going to color in just a few accents on the boots and whatnot to give it a little bit of glitter. I'm going to fold my scored thick cardstock in half and I'm going to glue all the way around here. Now don't glue your actual circle. I glued around it, but you don't want that to stick to the card because then it won't turn. You want all of those mechanisms to be free. So for the inside, I just thought it'd be cute to add that flower on another piece of cut cardstock, and I'll put the measurements up. And there you have it. It's all done. How easy was that? I mean, 8.5 minutes and you've got an adorable interactive paper pumpkin alternative. I had so much fun making this for you guys. Don't forget to like the video so I know that you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. And until I see you again, take care. Happy stamping!